I'm just going to revise with you what you have done already in class 10. So first thing is the term metallurgy. The term metallurgy means that we are going to find out and extract a metal from under the earth crust. Now how will be done is that I'm going to say under the earth crust metals are present. Some are present in free state and some are present in combined state. Now look at the metal activity series. Metals on the top are highly reactive and so they cannot be found free in nature. That's because supposing I have sodium in air, sodium is going to immediately combine with oxygen of the air to form sodium oxide. When it forms sodium oxide, it further combines with say water to form sodium hydroxide and further with CO2 to form sodium carbonate. So within minutes, sodium converts into sodium carbonate. So as it happens with potassium. Both of them, you think that they are cousins to each other. So sodium, potassium, calcium, they are such active metals that they immediately change into their compounds. So we say they are found in combined state. So under the earth crust there are minerals, and those minerals, out of them we will see which mineral is able to give us the metal profitably and conveniently. That will be known as the ore. Now that ore which we will dig out from the earth crust, that ore could be any compound of this, and when we are trying to change them into their free metals, we first change them into their oxides. So these metals which are under the earth crust, they could be in the form of carbonates, they could be in the form of oxides, they could be in any form, and further they will be reduced. Now metals on the top cannot be reduced by normal reducing agents like carbon monoxide. So electrolysis is done. Electrolysis is also a part of reduction. So this is called electrolytic reduction which takes place. So metals on the top till aluminium are electrolyzed to get the compound. I have sodium chloride, I'll pass current, will get sodium. The metals in the middle, that is these metals, are the ones which are moderately active and they can be reduced with reducing agents like carbon or carbon monoxides. The metal below are found free in nature, although they will also require some treatment to get the metal, but in little variety they are also found free in nature. Now the metal that we are taking out from the ore. So ore, again I'll repeat, is that substance, that mineral from which the metal can be extracted conveniently and profitably. So the first step that we will take in extraction of the metal is we will concentrate the ore. The concentration of the ore means that we are going to remove some earthly impurities from it. Earthly impurities means impurities which come with the metal, mineral, which is like sand, clay, those kind of impurities. So they are called from the earth, so they are earthly impurities. So these earthly impurities will be first removed, and they are removed by simple processes which are number one, hydraulic process. Hydraulic process is a simple process like sedimentation and decantation, in which the metal, the ore will be put on a surface which is rocking on its own, and then water is put on it. So heavier particles move down and the lighter particles remain there. Magnetic separation means that if the ore contains any magnetic impurities, it will be attracted towards the magnet. Froth flotation process is done for sulfide ores, like ZNS is a sulfide ore. So this will be concentrated by froth flotation process. After concentration of the ore has been done, the ore is roasted or undergoes calcination. Now roasting will be done, both these processes actually change the ore into its oxide, and if the ore requires oxygen, we will give supply of oxygen and change into its oxide. Like sulfide ores require oxygen, so it will be known as roasting. Carbonate ore does not require oxygen, so that is called calcination. So less amount of oxygen, then again the ore changes into its oxide. The major part of metallurgy is called reduction. So in reduction, the oxide is treated with carbon or carbon monoxide and the metal is released. Now this metal is again an impure form of metal, so it undergoes electrolytic refining, same as what you had done in class 10, that the impure metal will be kept at the anode, pure metal at the cathode, and an electrolyte will contain the same ions as the metal. If I am refining copper, I use copper sulfate. If I am refining zinc, I use zinc sulfate, and so on. So electrolytic refining will finally give me the pure metal. Metallurgy of iron. Now iron ores available are hematite, magnetite and pyrites, out of which hematite is majorly used in India. So if in your question it says name the major ore of iron, only hematite will be accepted. So this is the ore that we use here. So firstly, the ore is concentrated by gravity separation and then it is crushed and pulverized. Crushed and pulverized means that it is changed into a fine powder, and also some air is bubbled to it so that it becomes very light. Now it can be now taken from one place to another very easily. So it is crushed and pulverized. Next step is called roasting. Now the ore is already in the form of its oxide, otherwise roasting is done to convert the ore into its oxide. In this case we don't need to convert that, but roasting removes moisture and it also converts, if it contains any ferrous compounds in it, ferrous oxide in it, it will change into ferric oxide because hematite is ferric oxide. So it changes into ferric oxide. Then the ore has to be sent for smelting in a blast furnace. Now this is the blast furnace. Now see how reactions take place here. First thing is, whatever is put inside the blast furnace is known as the charge. So charge means what I am putting inside the furnace. The charge in this case is ore plus coke plus limestone. Three things are put in it: ore, coke and limestone. So there is a trolley. The furnace is extremely high. It is higher than your school building. So it is very, very high. So there is a trolley here that takes the ore, coke and limestone into this furnace. Now when the ore, coke and limestone are thrown into this furnace, there is a double cup and cone arrangement. Now double cup and cone arrangement is there because the furnace has temperatures which are fixed. Now these temperatures should not change. So we don't want to open the whole thing. If we open, the entire gases will go out. That's why we don't want to open it. So the cup and cone arrangement is a pulley arrangement in which if the ore is put here, it will tilt into the cup. The cup is going to come down into the furnace. When the cup comes down, cone closes the door of the furnace. When you pull the pulley upside, then cup comes up and closes the door of the furnace. So the cup and cone arrangement has two objectives. Number one, it throws the charge inside the furnace and keeps the door of the furnace always closed so that the hot gases do not escape and the temperature inside the furnace remains the same. So now what happens? The ore has been thrown inside the furnace, and so the reactions start from the lowermost part of the furnace. You have put coke. Coke is koila, so that falls down. So the first reaction is carbon plus oxygen gives you carbon dioxide. This is an exothermic reaction, meaning heat is being produced during this reaction. Now carbon dioxide is a gas, so it rises up. It rises up and combines with more coke to change into carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide comes in contact with the ore, which is Fe2O3. At the uppermost part of the furnace, Fe2O3 plus carbon dioxide gives you iron plus carbon dioxide. So I said the reaction is moving from lowermost part of the furnace. Carbon monoxide is formed. which rises up, combines with ferric oxide, which is the ore, changes it into iron. Now iron is heavy, it's not going to float inside the furnace, so it falls down onto the base of the furnace. So at the base of the furnace we get iron. Now what happens to the limestone that we had taken? Now limestone is chemically calcium carbonate or chalk or marble. So calcium carbonate or limestone is taken, which breaks in the middle part of the furnace into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. This calcium oxide combines with the impurity. When the iron ore is taken out from the earth crust, it contains an impurity of sand. So there is impurity which you have put in. So that impurity needs to be removed. So that impurity combines with CaO and forms calcium silicate, and this is known as flux. So you will be asked, what is flux? You will say flux is that substance which combines with the impurity to form slag. What is slag? Slag is impurity plus flux gives you slag. Now different ores will have different types of impurities, different types of flux will be used, different types of slag will be formed. So in this case, slag formed is calcium silicate. Now slag is very, very light, so it starts floating on top of this molten iron. So there are two openings at the bottom of the furnace. One gives you molten iron, the other gives you slag. So from the lower part of the furnace we get both the things. One is molten iron, the other is slag. Now this molten iron which we have collected from the furnace is again the most impure form of iron, and the major impurity present in it is of carbon. Right? So I have used two impurities at the moment. One is with the ore. Now ore contained the impurity of sand or silicas, SiO2, which was gone inside the furnace, and we removed it in the form of slag. The other impurity which is now present in iron, which is the most impure form of iron, is carbon. So the iron produced in the blast furnace is the most impure form of iron. It can hardly be used for anything, and that is why you hear about iron and steel companies. That is, all industries generally change all iron, most of the iron, into steel. So pig iron produced in the blast furnace is the most impure form of iron. So this iron is so impure that it can only be used to making, say, gutter lids or maybe some railings. Pig iron is impure, and that is why it is brittle and cannot be welded. So which means brittle means it breaks into two. Cannot be welded means you can't even join it together. So it is of no use for very, very menial use. So it has to be then changed into different forms of iron. One such form of iron is cast iron. Casting, you know, that if I want to have, say, a statue made up of iron, cast a statue. So you pour liquid iron inside that and it comes out in the form of that statue. So cast iron is formed again by oxidation of pig iron, and it changes into cast iron. Further oxidation of this gives you wrought iron. What we are actually trying to do is remove all volatile impurities by oxidation. I think I mentioned that in pig iron the major impurity is of carbon. So we are trying to remove that impurity and change into wrought iron. Wrought iron is the furniture that we use, that is pure form of iron. In fact, the metallurgy of iron has been known to mankind for very long. In fact, in India, metallurgy was well known much before time. You have heard about the iron pillar at Qutub Minar, which has not rusted. So pure iron does not rust. Iron rusts when it contains some impurities in it. So wrought iron is the purest form of iron, and most of the iron is now changed into steel because steel is better looking, it is more corrosion resistant, and it has more tensile strength. So most of the iron is changed into steel. So while it is being changed into steel, again it is oxidized, and that oxidation is done in a Bessemer converter. So oxidation takes place, all the carbon content is first removed. Once it has been removed, then some calculated amount of carbon will again be added to it. It will be formed as an alloy. So the alloy will be formed when we add some more things. So calculated amount of carbon will be added, some chromium, some manganese will be added to give it some shine, and this whole thing that which we are adding to it is known as spiegel. Now this spiegel changes the quality of steel. So you know steel can be used for making girders, steel can be used for making razor blades, it can be used for making cutlery. So different types of things are made by steel. So different kind of steel is required, sometimes very hard steel, sometimes soft, sometimes malleable. So different types of steels are required. So the few other processes that take place to make that steel of the style that the manufacturer wants are quenching, annealing, and tempering. Quenching is something like how you quench your thirst. You quench your thirst by drinking water. So similar thing is here. You heat steel to very, very high temperature and then plunge it into water. When you plunge it into water, the kind of steel formed is soft steel. And then similarly, if annealing and tempering means that we are heating steel to very, very hot and then cooling it slowly. Tempering, remember with this, temper, how your temper cools down after some time. So it is cooled slowly. So different variety of steel can be formed by these physical conditions which are given to steel.